Glitch 25, Cybernetics. Let's settle a debate about what the ultimate cyborg form actually looks like. According to this pamphlet, technopolists claim that techromancy, sheer luck, elbow grease, and their own plucky innovation have turned the tide of ecological overshoot at the very last minute. What do they leave out? A lot. They don't mention how they failed to stop the cataclysm. And look, I know your call center may be hosted in a different, more cost-effective dimension, or maybe you're one of those recombinant AIs, engineered to be ignorant about anything that might turn you against your master. So, if you're not hip to the big event that triggered our fall from grace, you'll catch up. It's basically a clusterflark of global conflicts that forced the human population to collapse from 10 billion sapiens back down to 1 billion. In a murderous meltdown of epic proportions, a lot of it triggered by fertilizer shortages. So, yeah, I schlitz you not. The technopolists cheerled our subsequent doubling to 2 billion dearthlings. They called it the Great Rebound. It marked most of my lifetime, starting from the smoldering embers of society in the early to mid-5900s to the turn of the 61st century. It's now, Hebrew year 6014. Oh, and techromancy. Why techromancy? Well, I use the banned term because I can, okay? I'm dead. In addition, it's what it sounds like, a sort of technological dark art. For those who've never heard of it due to our passively censored corporate and trillionaire-owned media, techromancy is necromancy for our virtual age, necromancy being the method of communicating with the dead to predict the future. Only in this case, it ain't powered by magic. I mean, not that necromancy is, I don't really know anything about that. So, while the starving masses scrambled around vying for survival at the start of the cataclysm, megacorporations secretly uploaded the consciousnesses, try to say that 10 times fast, of their big-brained founders. They also looped in a network of loyal operatives and C-suite masterminds to consult from beyond the grave in the aftermath of the big event, the cataclysm. And in exchange for clandestine government land grants and financing for cryogenic virtual afterlife facilities, a select cadre of political power brokers and moneyed elites and their bloodlines also attained digital immortality, or at least they purchased their own piece of the digital immortality cloud. Actual communication with the digi-undead, like myself, is extremely spotty and costly to parse, so it is used mainly for business purposes. But as computer power and bandwidth became more affordable, it was believed they would be able to send and receive messages more freely with the public. The hopeful believers envisioned their veritable cult leaders and technologists as specially endowed techno-wizards. In a believer's eyes, the mind-uploaded Messiah has earned the right to be downloaded back to Earth and embedded in a sensory-rich android or cyborg body capable of reintegrating into society. This is what I refer to as the final form of a fully evolved cyborg. No human parts, just a ghost installed into hardware. However, for a select few, that hardwired being is but the penultimate form of cyborg. For the obscenely well-off, there dangles the option of the most coveted shell, wetware. Most call it a wet set. A wet set is a body indistinguishable from human flesh. But don't fool yourself into believing such a super stealth cyborg lacks the means to be reseeded into a warehouse full of ageless, genetically optimized clones. Don't mistake softness for weakness in this case. And whatever you do, never assume a cyborg in full wetware doesn't have some deadly or otherwise performance-enhanced bionic modification up their sleeve of synthetically reinforced human skin. If you prick them, sure, they'll bleed, but you'll be bled bone dry in retaliation before they strip you for parts. To date, We're told only a handful of SSCs or super stealth cyborgs exist. The occupants of these shells guard their privacy with an electrified chrome fist. We usually only know of sightings when digi-paparazzi get unalived. However, all of this is a distraction from the collapse itself. Or is it? No one knows the actual cost of such immortalization. It's still in process, they say. Some believe the trigger of the collapse and our redevelopment since then have been tied to the drive to achieve the singularity, which is just another term for technological capture and liberation of the soul. In this case, one might ask, liberation, sure, but at whose expense? Folks are pretty cagey on that point, and megacorporations deny anything even remotely hinting at such a train of thought. Their general counsels have gone so far as to sue and silence anyone speaking out about the link to aspirational singularity with highly punitive defamation claims. But hey, if you gotta go, what better way than being uploaded to a virtual infinite afterlife devoid of pain, right? And if you're going to talk smack about the super cyborgs and their coteries of bodyguards and legal personnel, well, where better a place to do it from than here in the Waitrix? I hope my testimony has informed you that this is not necessarily all it's cracked up to be. Now, let me tear into another one of these wazzles. I'd like to tell you the rest of what happened last night, or yesterday as it were, but I've got to plug this little guy into the charging cradle so he can get juiced. Hang steady, traveler. Back in a swish.